Hello and welcome back to Ride Rescue. Well, now that I've figured out that the doors fit and I'm kind of making a plan for the side, in order to get the side off, I've got to either separate the roof or, well, there's some other options. But it really comes down to I got to decide what to do about the roof. The roof is bad. It's not horrible. It's not, I got to replace it, but maybe I should replace it. So in this episode, we'll put together our plan, and hopefully by the end of the episode, we'll actually be doing something about that roof skin, either removing it or fixing it. Yeah, I don't know what they had covered this windshield with and what they covered the roof with other than that white plastic when the adhesive came off. And that adhesive dried, as well as it's got glass in it from the roof. It's not easy to get out, but starting to see more and more signs now. Once I have this all off, you can see a dent there. There's several dents along here. What's really got me concerned though is this area. It is covered with dents. Both sides, all the way across. It almost looks like somebody walked on this roof because there's no consistent dents. There's a dent there. There's even a dent in the trim. A dent up here on the corner. I don't know if I can really see that one. Yeah, there you can see it. Just the impact to the side of this truck, I just can't imagine how it could cause all this damage to the roof. So now I'm down to trying to decide, do I take the skin off of this roof, replace the whole skin, or do I do a lot of body and paint? But yeah, look at those yellow straps. Look at the reflection in those waves. There's two layers of metal right here. They're just maybe that thick apart. So my hope is that I can get a stick in there and I can massage this big low spot right here. It's pushed in, and it's also pushed in a couple of spots along here. I can kind of manipulate that spot. But there was quite a low spot right here, and that just lifted. It's a little bit ripply. I don't think there's any way to get any tools in there for a paintless dent repair, but there's so many other dings in here. I'm going to have to repaint this roof anyway, but it doesn't look like I'm going to have to replace the skin. I was hoping I could get a paint stick in here, push that up. But the paint stick is just a little bit too long. And I've got the same thing on this side. I've got a low spot right there. I can get a paint stick in there, but it's just not strong enough to lift it up. If I can get the stick to hold that spot, then I can tap around it. Definitely helped. There's another low spot right here. I can actually get to the back side of this area. I can't get back here. The inner panel comes right across here. So it's like somebody sat on this or stepped on it, something fell on it. So it's high here and low here. And it's got a high spot right here too. Same thing, it's pushed up on the brace. There's a dent there, a dent there, dent there. So in order to get some of those dents out of the roof, I'm hoping I can get this little slide hammer to work using a hot melt glue gun. You can buy these with the glue gun. This one actually came with some glue sticks. There are a couple of different types of glues. I have a white glue that I was using in this gun. You can also get a heavier glue like this one in this orangish goldish color that has even stronger bond, and then the black one bonds even stronger than that. You start out by gluing these little tabs on at the base of the dent, and then you just slide this puller over that piece and you just hammer it out just like a stud puller. So let's try it out. As we can clearly see now, there's dents here. There's just some light low spots. So I'm going to attempt to glue on my little puller, and I'm going to see if I can work those up a little bit. So what we do, I haven't done this before, but you put on some hot melt. You just have to experiment with how much and stick it on. So I'm going to try a few different spots and a few different styles and different amounts of adhesive. And now let's give it a try. Actually does a pretty good job. That's impressive. Definitely works better with a big piece and a lot of glue. Oh, it pulled right up. Let's see how this teeny one works. Wow, that actually worked pretty good. Man, that one holds really well. Well, I'm really impressed with this little thing. Now, when they're on this well, supposedly you use a plastic putty knife and break it loose, supposedly. I'll work the edges and then see if it'll pop off. I actually lifted a little bit of a high spot. I'm surprised. This one works really good. It even lifted a little bit of a high spot right there too. And then I can just massage it back down. A piece of plastic. Perfect. I have a pretty big low spot right here. So I'm going to put this big one right in the middle, and then I'm going to work all around it to see if I can bring down. There's a high spot here, a high spot here. And this area I'll just work to kind of give it some memory to stay. Got a little bit of a high spot right here, and I think I'm good. I'm getting really close. I'm excited. I don't have to replace this roof. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's actually a dent right there. There's a drastic low spot right there. So hopefully when I pull it out, this shine is going to be smooth. We're going to attempt this one right here on the edge. Probably not going to be able to see it. Let's see what I can do here. Wow, that took that dent right out. This is amazing. Wow, that dent is gone. That is amazing. I'm really excited about this tool because I was not looking forward to doing body work all along the windshield. With a little bit of polish, you never know that was done. Pretty amazing. I'm impressed. Well, I took the dents out of the other side. I don't know if you can see it. There's some waves right here, but I just can't get out with that glue-on dent puller. But this was deep. This was a really deep dent, so that makes my job a whole lot easier to fix this one. As you look down across this area, this had several dents. It had, I can't even tell where they are anymore. There was one right here. This was really deep. There was another one down here that was really deep. So that little slide hammer did an excellent job. So yeah, you can kind of see that. Just a teeny little bit of a wave right there. And then another one right there. These were both really, really deep. Where this roof had creased in. So it's way easier than completely removing this roof panel and replacing it. And I can just scuff it up really good. I don't even have to go down to bare metal. Just put on a light coat of spot filler and heavy coat of primer, and this roof is done. I've got it all to stop bouncing. It was oil canning back and forth. What it was this arch was down too far, so when I put the sunroof in to test fit everything, this was way down. So I just kept massaging it up until I got the curve correct, and that just seemed to reinforce and stiffen everything up. So it's not oil canning anymore. There's some bad creases here and here. I can get to the back side of those, so I just used a board and just massaged it until it's good and smooth. So I'm really happy with all of this back now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with just an 80 grit sandpaper. And I'll just start hand sanding this, and it'll show me where all the high and low spots are. And if it's really bad, then I'll know I've got to do some repair work. If I have a high spot, I can tap it down. The nice thing about black, it exposes everything. It's good and bad. Man, this is awesome. There's not a whole lot of body work on this roof. I was able to get it really smooth. There's some pretty good ripples along right here I'm going to have to fill. And this corner, I just could not get it smooth. That corner came out perfectly. So the body work on this roof, thankfully, is way less than I thought it was going to be. So I've got all of this area now sanded with 80 grit, which brings up the old argument of filler over paint. Now, when I first started doing body work, you never put filler over paint. A lot of the old cars had lacquer paint, and it's just porous enough that moisture has a tendency to crawl underneath the lacquers. My first 69 Camaro, the lacquer paint on it was only a few years old, and the whole surface of the car was little rust underneath all that paint. I had to strip the whole car to bare metal to get rid of all that rust on the surface. Well, today's paints with epoxy primers and the base coats and the real high-end clear coats, you can get away with doing filler on paint, especially on an OEM paint. I would only do it though when I know it's a really high quality paint, and a year-old paint, the base coat, clear coats, acrylics, hardeners, they're such great paints now, and the primers that they're using. Chrysler, there was a time during the 90s that they used some horrible primer and the paint just fell off. So you really need to know what your substrates are. And if you're going to put much filler in at all, always go to bare metal. These areas where I'm going to be welding in and seaming, absolutely take everything to bare metal. It's just not worth the risk. Even though it's just a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch thick in some areas, there's a chance it's not going to bond to the paint. Now in this area, because I block sanded it and I'm picking up some high areas that I could tap down and only just a few very minor low spots, I can skim coat this and sand majority of that filler off. There's not going to be much filler in this area at all. So I am very confident that that filler is going to bond really well to this surface. We'll start with a good paint prep, just really clean the surface well, and then I'll put a skim coat over the whole area. All right, we'll mix me up a batch and we'll start spreading it on. Now, if you are going to put filler on paint, make sure you use a good quality filler. I looked up the specs on this. They don't recommend putting it over paint unless you know whether it's a real good, high quality OEM paint, and not at any thickness whatsoever that is much of a substantial thickness. This will go up to 1/4 of an inch thick, but I would never recommend doing that over existing paint. It better be super, super thin skim coat, or it's just not worth it. Then you just take the risk of it lifting. Mix up another batch and finish this off. I like to start in the strange shape areas. So where this is rolled, I want to use a rolled rounded sanding block, and I'll start out with a real high grit. This is like 36 grit, and I'll just kind of rough it out, and then I'll switch to an 80 grit and I'll fine sand it. I want to go till I just start to see through it, and then I want to stop using this heavier sandpaper, and then I want to switch to a lighter grit so that I'm not going any real deep scratches into the metal, because those, even with a primer surfacer, with age they start to shrink up, and you'll see those sand scratches, especially in a black paint. So I want to keep sanding until I'm going all the way through it. I don't want to completely sand it off, and as long as I've got a good sanding block, then I know I'm not going too far. So I want to get out my longboard for this long surface. Oh, and I'm starting to kick up some dust. I better put a respirator on. Well, now we have it. Officially, the roof is done, ready for primer and paint. Well, almost. There's one little area. This area turned out absolutely awesome. This was the area I was worried about the most until I got the sunroof out and realized how wavy that was. And that's when I thought I was going to have to throw in the towel on this roof. This is the last little spot. I'll finish this little corner. That way I can mask all the glass off and cover everything really good. Thanks for checking out my channel. I'm here to learn, to teach, and hopefully to inspire. So hit my subscribe button. I really appreciate you subscribing. Leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. If you like what I'm doing, please give me a like. Thanks again for watching.